Hey YouTube, we're back with a, you guessed it, another YouTube video. And so today we're going to talk about the turn of events that's going on in America. And so this is not a doom and gloom video, basically saying, oh, America, wake up. It's not a video like that. And so I'm not a self-proclaimed prophet. I will not put that title upon myself. And so I'm just a regular person. Anybody can make videos like this. And what I want to say is I challenge the church not to make themselves better than someone else. Because we are all human beings born from a woman and a man. And if you can do better than someone, that's God's grace, And so it's not to say that I'm better than you. It's basically to say, follow me as I follow Christ. And so I just thought that was, a little nugget of truth. And so as I watched the news, I began to see a lot of violence unravel around the world. And so, around the world, that's different. But like right here in the United States, we've seen an uptick in violent crime, as well as, people from all different backgrounds pouring in. And so we can't fight the inside enemy and the outside enemy divided. You know what I mean? And so it doesn't make sense to continue to divide the church from the white church and the black church. You know what I mean? Or the Mexican church and the Chinese church or whatever. Like, the church is the church. You know what I mean? So we're all collectively together in different ethnicities, backgrounds, genders, and everything. So the church is a church in a whole. So we can't continue on this fight with the church people fighting themselves. When I say fighting themselves, it's like fighting your own teammates, And so when we begin to talk about the church, we see a lot of people calling out people and, really trying to embarrass them and stuff like that. And so if you have a problem with your sister or brother, you're supposed to always meet at the church. And that's biblical law as well. You meet at the church and you talk to the church, and the church is the mediator between both parties who have a problem with each other. You calling people out on social media is not proper standard when you can go to these people in private, in a church meeting, in a church setting, and do things properly and the old way of what God has said is supposed to be done. And so when you start to attack your teammates, you will start to get these attacks yourself, because God didn't come for us to fight each other. He came for us to unite each other and us to strengthen each other. Because when you start attacking your teammate and then the enemy start attacking us, you fighting us, the enemy fighting us. Now we losing because you don't know who your father is, so you having an identity crisis of who your father is and who you belong to. You know what I mean? And so when you start to have that identity crisis, no one wins, not even you, because we can't continue to go on in this manner, doing these things to each other. So it's one thing when the world tears you down, because by the Bible, per se the Bible, the world will hate you when you start to tell them what is right to do. So when the world starts to tear you down, you need that community say, keep going. This is your calling. We're behind you. You know what I mean? So if the world is tearing you down and your teammates is tearing you down, you're not going to prosper in this. because you're having an identity crisis or a parental crisis of who your father is, you know. And so Jesus talks about that and says, if people will not listen to you, then they're of their father, the devil. And then he also says, a house divided cannot stand. So if we're supposed to be a Christian nation and we're arguing with each other, you can kind of, per se the Bible, view the future for that. You know what I mean? And so we have to really dissect the Bible as it is and put it in proper terms and thoughts so that it can guide our thoughts in the right way. And so another thing that I wanted to touch on was when Jesus ran away from his family. And so, you know, we kind of skip the early parts of Jesus when he is showing his self, you know. And so when his mother and father didn't know where he was, you know, that's kind of like him. He just ran away. You know what I mean? And so when he was gone for 3 days and they said, you know, where were you? He was in the temple preaching, asking the teachers in the temple all about the religious processes. And so, you know, we kind of give kids who run away a bad rep. Now, when I'm not trying to say these kids are Jesus or they like him, but what I am trying to say is that when someone runs away, it's not because they having such a good time. And so I'm going to change the subject from Jesus running away to, you know, the youth maybe running away. And so when you begin to see people run away, you realize that they were really not having a good time where they were, because if they was, they wouldn't have ran away. And so we cannot deem these kids as evil, as bad. We have to literally take them under our wings to teach them another way. And so that's basically what this series is about, which is teaching the youth there is another way. You don't have to choose violence. You don't have to continue to hurt and pain. God is here to bind up the wounds of the brokenhearted. That is what he has come to do. And so just because you haven't seen a historical account that he's actually lived here and there and all these things, that doesn't mean that he was not alive. Because when you start to see the prophecies in this Bible play out just as it was written, you start to see that this Bible is true. Now, it may have been changed over time because, of course, we are people, you know, and things happen. Some people still sinful, some not. And so when you realize that everybody plays their part in the role of God, you understand that even sinful people play their part in the role of God. And so you have to not take that to heart and let that discourage you from doing what God has told you to do. Because the Bible also says everything you do, you serve the Lord. So God is your first boss, and he's also your father. And he's also joined you to a body of Christ and other believers to help you on this walk, because he knows it will be hard. But just like any hard thing, when you're finally done, you are grateful and you're happy because you have changed your life in a positive way. And so let's make sure that we don't labor in vain, but we actually labor in goodness, so that when Jesus comes to us, he can say, well done, servant. You know, he could say, you did everything I told you to do, and I am proud of you. Because he does have a place prepared for us, And I believe everything that he has said in this Bible. And so that is it. We're going to show some more artwork. And this is my latest piece. So I'm not quite done with this piece yet because some artists says, you know, artist is never done. And so some people may say, I like it just like it is, don't do anything to it, but I want to continue to work on it. And so that's what I love about art, is because you want to make a piece that you love and that the buyer loves as well. And so I just enjoy the artistic process. I enjoy the highs, the lows. I enjoy, some days I feel like Picasso. I just, you know, want to just do art all day. And other days it kind of just like, I don't feel like painting today. But what I can say is when I start to paint, it makes me feel much better in my mind and in my body, because I'm temporarily I have taken my mind off of everything that was going on, and I have decided to put myself first. And that's why I enjoy painting. And so we will see you next time. I always enjoy these talks. Please leave comments. Let me know what you think. Negative comments I will not reply to, because, you know, I'm not going to argue with someone who does not understand my thought processes. But if you want to have a thoughtful conversation, a conversation that is important, that you think is important for the culture, then I welcome that all the time. But if you want to just continue to argue and perpetuate the cycle of violence, I will not engage. So that is it. I will see you next time on the Christian's Corner. See you.